About 2 weeks ago, there was major heated drama in the Nigerian Senate. What started as a simple disagreement on sitting positions have now snowballed into a big major fracas with far more damning meanings and implications. Let me tell you everything and how it all started. On the 20th of February 2025, members of the Nigerian Senate had convened per usual for the day's plenary session. Senator Natasha Uduaghan, the senator representing Kogi Central Senatorial District, assumed her normal sitting position, but she was told that there had been a new sitting rearrangement and she will not be able to remain on her usual sitting position. Now listen. Sitting allocation and reallocation is not arbitrary. On the contrary, it is statutorily backed. According to the standing orders of the Nigerian Senate, the President of the Senate has the right to assign and reallocate seats to the senators. And Section 6, subsection 2 specifically states that a senator may only speak from their assigned seats. And so this means that seat reallocation is permissible according to the discretion of the Senate President as deemed necessary to reflect changes in party affiliations as well as other considerations within the Senate. I would explain. So when I say seat change is permissible to reflect party affiliations, what I mean is that sitting positions are usually organized to reflect party affiliations. Members of the ruling party sit together while opposition party members have their different sitting positions. And so when senators defect from one party to the other, when a senator, for example, defects from Labour Party and moves to the APC, they move and sit with their new party members. Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. My thoughts may stray to wonder why. Removing the focus of the Senate from people representation to party affiliations. And so maybe when a senator raises a motion, it will either be supported or antagonized based on party than the interest of the people. So I believe that that law or arrangement is even faulty. But that's not the topic on ground. Please follow me. So recently, there were shifts in party affiliations in the Senate. Two senators, Senator Ned Woko and Senator Francis Ezenwa, defected from the PDP to the ruling party, the APC. And so that necessitated the need for seat rearrangements to reflect this new party composition. Good. Now, despite I have explained that this seat reallocation is within the ambits of the law, but I still believe that there should be a process, a procedure to ensure that it is done with respect, with decorum, and with consideration. These are senators, not primary school pupils, where you can just tell a noisemaker, stand up from there and go and sit down there. These are mature senators, lawmakers. So it should be done in a respectful manner. There should, in my opinion, have been prior notice, an official notice, saying, come this day, Senator, this, please, you will not be assuming this seat to reflect the new party composition due to the defection of these senators. You will now assume seat 200 instead of 120. Instead of asking an already seated senator to get up during plenary and relocate to another seat. What do you think?
I was walking straight to my usual seat, which is the last seat by the door, like at the topmost last seat by the aisle. So, and then I was told by one of the sergeant at arms that, oh, ma'am, that is no longer your seat. You are now sitting at the far end there. And I was like, since when? They said, well, that's what the Senate president instructed. I was like, I was in chambers yesterday. which was Wednesday. I've not been notified. Why did you change my seat? What reason? I'm comfortable here. I'm okay here. I wasn't notified to that.
Are you with me that there should be prior notice to ensure fairness and respect? Or do you believe that it should be within the Senate President's prerogative to stand up an already sitting senator and tell them to go to another seat? Please begin to drop your comments and your thoughts down in the comment section. And if you're new here, seeing me for the first time, or if you've been watching without subscribing, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Give this video a big thumbs up. Drop all your comments down in the comment section as we discuss, and stay glued, for we have so much coming your way. So let's proceed. Back to this fateful day on the 20th of February precisely. Senator Natasha was already comfortably sitting in what was her usual seat, very strategic, right up at the extreme, facing the Senate President. A powerful position, if you ask me. And so as she made to contribute, the Senate President instructed her that she should move to her new seat or she will not be allowed to speak.
Order, please.
Dismissed Senator Natasha, please, you are not recognized to speak from there. That is the order of the Senate.
Sir, order 10 on privileges.
Senator Natasha was highly embarrassed. And so she began to read from a law that states that a senator may be allowed to speak from anywhere within the Senate based on special privileges, and that it was an abuse of her privileges as a senator to be shut down and not allowed to speak. But the Senate President was not having it. He insisted that she will not be heard unless and until she gets up from that place and walks to her new seat and assume her new seat.
Order 10 on privileges.
Distinguished Senator Natasha.
Any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege, and he shall be prepared to move without notice. A motion declaring that the content of breach.
It led to some kind of altercation, and he instructed that she be walked out from plenary session.
Please
suddenly
take her out of the
arising.
Senate.
Show me the session that allows suspension immediately.
Senator Natasha made a sentence. She told the Senate President that I am not afraid of you. I will not be silenced.
You have deliberately silenced my voice. You have denied me I have not been able to take the second reading of my numerous debates. I choose to remain on this seat. Because you will do, Mr. Senate President, is to suspend me from sitting. I will tell Nigerians no how you have discriminated against me, how you have maligned me, how you have dehumanized me. I am not afraid of you.
Now, looking at this episode from this singular incident, one may perhaps feel or be tempted to take the position that Senator Natasha's reaction was not commensurate to the actions of the Senate President. Yes, maybe she was embarrassed, but it was just move to a different seat. Not move out from the Senate room. It doesn't stop your emotions from being heard. It doesn't take you away from the place. It doesn't make you any less a senator. So why couldn't she just move? That may be the reasoning of some people listening to me, just hearing this singular incident. Well, until you get to know the whole history. Senator Natasha and Senate President Godswill Akpabio have been embroiled in a series of disputes and tension escalating episodes. The first that got out to public notice was their clash on rebuilding the Karo market. I had explained in a previous video that one of the popular markets in Abuja, the Karo market, got gutted down by fire and burnt down to rumbles. Properties and goods worth millions and millions were destroyed. And so the senator representing the FCT, Senator Iriti Kengibe, rose a motion in the House asking that some monies be allocated to rebuilding the market and offering it to these traders at subsidized amounts. Not for free, oh. No. The motion was not hand it over to them for free. Give them at a little subsidized amount because they have lost their stores, their means of employment, their capital, their profit. Some of them took loans from the bank. Give it to them at a little reduced price. This would ease their suffering.
On the Cairo fire outbreak and the need for safer public places, I urge the FCDA and Abuja Municipal Area Council to offer the shops when rebuilt to the victims at a subsidized and affordable rate in order not to disenfranchise the original owners of the shops. I so submit.
But the Senate President was not having it. He wondered why public funds, why government money should be used to rebuild the market for the people.
So why do you use government money to build community market, maintain the status, and hand over to the community? So what I'm saying in essence is that the prayer is faulty.
But just like some of you watching me with your face all scrunched up, that reasoning did not also apply to Senator Natasha. And so she stood up to support the motion that Senator Ireti had raised. She said this.
And I speak to second the prayer as amended by Senator Ireti Kingibe. If your question has to do with the disbursement or the utilization of government funds in rebuilding a community market, sir, the people are the government. The communities are the government. So it's like the people using their money to their own advantage. So I stand to second the motion as amended by Senator Ireti Kingibe, sir.
Okay. So that incident came and went, and we didn't read so much meaning to it, actually, because deliberations and disagreements are bound to happen in the house. Everybody is not supposed to agree or oppose to ideas. So those deliberations are very normal in every house all across the world. But there came another motion that was raised by Senator Natasha. And this time, it centered around the motion to develop the waterways, to develop other means of transportation, to reduce the congestion on the roads. So much accidents, the roads are depleting. Why don't we diversify in the area of transportation?
If we develop our internal road network, internal waterways, that would actually unburden the roads and will now even save and avoid accidents. So what I'll propose, sir, is instead of having it named the National Road Transport Council, it should read the National Transport Council of Nigeria, whereby innovations in other means of transportation can be harmonized. Our waterways, our rail networks are all designed independently and not in a coordinated fashion. So we would love a situation whereby every aspect of our transportation is looked into and developed by deploying the most modern, innovative ways. So, sir, that's my submission.
And so when she was this very brilliant motion, much to my surprise, a majority of the members of the Senate declined the motion and the nays had it.
Anyway, I've heard from those in support and those not in support. Those in favor that this bill be now read a second time say aye. Those against say nay.
And so it was in the course of that deliberation, she sought to make some clarification to her point, which is very normal in every house of Senate or Parliament. She politely sought to speak, and when the Senate President declined, she humbly sat down and apologized to him. But he continued, and then he proceeded to bring in that controversial nightclub tag on her.
Mr. President, we don't want it to be killed. We just want a bit of modification. We don't want the bill killed, but it should be slight modifications, sir. It's a necessary bill.
This is Natasha, in the chamber, you have to be recognized before you speak.
Oh, pardon me.
Yeah, we are not in a nightclub. The nays have it.
A lot of people found this statement very offensive, and for very good reasons too. There were and there are a 1,000 ways to depict a noisy place, if that was the meaning that the Senate president was trying to convey. The most common of them in Nigeria is referring to that situation as a marketplace. Oh, this is not a marketplace, or this is not a community something, or this. There were 1,001 ways to have said that if he really had to say such a thing. But likening her and her polite request to speak as acting as someone in a nightclub didn't sit too well with a lot of people. They considered his statement very sexist, and they wondered if it was a man, Senator Malam Mohammed Abo from Katsina State, or if it was a mommy G.O. with big shoulder pad, maybe like Mommy Ngozi Okonjo Iweala, will he have likened them to nightclub life? Or was it because this woman in particular is young, fashionable, beautiful and attractive? So it caused a very big scene on social media. He was called out, his personal numbers were released and people were trolling him, and he came back to the Senate and he offered an apology, which some people respected him for, owning up to his wrong. He apologized and we felt that the hatchet was buried. But that was only the beginning. Now back to this present story. Senator Natasha's outburst didn't sound like the annoyance that will come from the inconvenience of changing seats. It came as an outburst of I have had it up to my neck. It came as a protest, as anger, as pain, as frustration. It came as revolting, as a protest. It came as rage, defiance, fighting back, and an overpouring of bottled emotions. And so as I watched and observed that altercation play out, I asked myself if this incident was all about changing seats, or if there was more than meets the eyes. And alas, there was more.
A lot has been going on. I did mention that my rights in the Senate there, I have been dehumanized, I have been maligned and all what. And that outburst, I believe that that's what the seat change was just the straw that broke the camel's back.
So in the days following this dispute, Senator Natasha granted an interview making some very, very, very serious allegations against the Senate president. She alleged that the Senate president of Nigeria had made inappropriate sexual advances at her. She said,
many people do not know what I'm about to say, but I'm going to speak my own truth. And the Senate president is allowed to counter that. It all started on the 8th of December, 2023. And he held my hand and said he wanted to show me around his house. My husband was walking behind us, just three of us. We're walking around from room to room. He showed me the beautiful interior. This was done by this, by that, this designer here, he bought this from us. Like, oh, it's beautiful. And then I noticed that he hastened his pace while still holding my hand. And my husband was behind, still on his phone, but he was catching up whenever he could. And then he got to this particular sitting room, and he said, do you like my house? I said, of course, sir. Every room, beautiful, nice interior, quality taste. He said, now that you're a senator, I'm going to create a time for us to come spend quality moments here. You will enjoy it. At that point, I just pulled away and I was like, I don't really understand what exactly that meant.
Now, according to her, when this happened at first, she kept it to herself, just as we always do. We have been groomed and made to understand that there are some things that you should shut your mouth about. Keep it to yourself. Haba. Now today, is it today? If African women want to start talking on every one of them, if we had a functional system that works, prison go full now. In every 1,000 women, we can say 998 must have been either groped or touched inappropriately or actually raped or sexually molested, either in the house or by strangers or family members, or their buttocks touched or their breast grabbed or communicated to in sexual ways that she did not endorse. It is almost like a way of life that a female in Nigeria or some African countries have had to prepare themselves for or dealt with even as children, even as little as the age of 8. So she was not going to blow up this normalcy out of proportion. She kept it to herself. But according to her, what led to this whole situation getting out of hand was not just the sexual advances that the Senate president allegedly made, but the punishment she had to undergo for daring to refuse, for daring not to cooperate. She said that her refusal to led to him frustrating her legislative functions, almost like blacklisting her. She alleged that he made her redundant in the House, refused to take her motions, refused to grant her audience. Oh, she said that he was out to frustrate her. She likened it to a situation that many girls have to undergo in universities, where a lecturer makes a sexual move or advance at you and tells you, meet me in my office or meet me at room 305. And if that female student dares not to cooperate, you find the lecturer frustrating her life, failing her, ensuring that she does not graduate until she gives in. Who do you want to report to? The Senate committee, the VC. Dogs do not eat dogs. That was the situation that Senator Natasha claimed that the Senate president put her in. Now, in decent, sane, functioning, civilized, normal countries, when a Senate president or a high-ranking public officer at all is accused of sexual abuse or misconduct, it is seen as a very, very, very serious issue, not to be handled with rubber gloves. First, a formal, independent investigation panel is launched to investigate that allegation. Did you hear my emphasis on independent? It is in law, we have two pillars of natural justice upon which all trials and all hearings are benched on. We have the Audi Alteram pattern, which says that no man shall be condemned unheard. And we had the Nemo Judex in Cosa Sua, which means that a man cannot be a judge in his own case. Any justice gotten that interferes or contradicts with these two pillars of natural justice is null and void, is deemed as if it didn't even happen. That's hearing, that judgment didn't even happen at all. Independence of the panel. So that is the first thing that happens. An independent panel of inquiry is set up to investigate. No, the accused is not automatically guilty. No, an investigation will be carried out. Secondly, there would be an overpouring of media scrutiny and public outrage. Social media outrage, protests, a lot of support will be shown to this alleged victim, both by her colleagues and people around the society. Encouraged, given strength, shown support. Do you think it's easy? Do you think it's easy to come out and put a tag on yourself as someone that was sexually molested? The view, the perception that the world will have of you would never remain the same. You'll be seen as that person that was raped. Yay! See that person that they touched her breast. See that person that they molested. See that person. It's not the most pleasant of identities to have. You can't wear what you want. If you dress a certain way, people will be like, she has one monostrap, she has one spaghetti. After, she will start complaining that they raped her. You can't even report it if it happens again. So people will not say, oh, you again? Why is it always you they're always sexually harassing? Are you the only woman in the world? Even when everybody knows that the woman can be a victim repeatedly of sexual harassment. So when a woman swallows that shame and comes out to say this, she gets support. But remember, that I am telling you what will have happened in civil, normal societies. Thirdly, the accused person may be asked to step aside, not sacked, like step aside, take a leave of absence, pending the determination of the inquiry, of the investigation, because they know that his presence might interfere with fair investigation. It might compromise fair investigation. So they would ask him to please take leave of absence so people, witnesses, testimonies can be freely gotten from people without them having to look over their shoulders, whether the accused will see them entering HRO office and now know that, hey, they're the ones that corroborated this person's story. So that person will be asked what? Leave the environment. But before we even get to this number 3, do you even know the more common thing that happens? That public officer will voluntarily resign. Not as an admission of guilt. No. The resignation is not born out of an admission of guilt. It is because these people understand the sensitivity of the positions that they occupy. They know that they are public servants, not public masters or public lords as we have it in Nigeria. They know that they cannot serve a people who have lost trust in them or confidence in their integrity. And so they see it as the honorable thing to do to step aside from public service when there is a public scandal. Oh my God! Are you guys sure that it's the same God that created people in this part of the world and the same God that created people in the other part of the world? Because he reached to ask. But this is Africa and this is Nigeria. Let us take a look at how it played out over here.